Okay, so the first Raw of the new year. The opening with Cena and Ziggler. Nice match, decent match. I like the interference. Of course, Cena still won after he lost his shoe. Hearing Big E and Langston get a hold of the mic and be like, "Oh, it's on," and even Ziggler was like, "What?" I was watching a buddy and we were like, "Man, do not put the mic on that guy." Decent match, nice back and forth. I liked it. I do think that with all the interference, Ziggler still should have won. I think when you have kind of like a 3-on-1 match with a ref bump and Cena still wins, it does diminish Ziggler a little bit. Had Cena lost, it wouldn't have hurt Ziggler. It wouldn't have hurt Cena at all. It would have made Ziggler seem more credible. Putting him again on kind of a, he won a big match at the end of the year and they drop poop on him, and then he loses the first match on Raw. It's a real mixed signal as to when he's actually going to challenge and take part in the World Heavyweight Championship. Also had quite a few throwaway matches. Big Show took on Kofi, and that match lasted as long as it takes to say Big Show took on Kofi. Kofi's attacking Show, they get back up into a corner. 1, 2, 3, that match is done. Barrett took on Santino Marella for some reason. But Steamboat was in his corner, which is pretty cool. And Santino hit probably one of the best super kicks I've seen in quite some time. But Barrett, still bullhammer elbow, still got him. I would like to know who 3-man band pissed off. I really would. Randy Orton took on Heath Slater, beat Heath Slater and all 3 members of 3MB, and then Sheamus took on Jinder Mahal. And in the process also beat all 3 members of 3MB. I guess they're the new job squad. Team Rhodes Scholars, they should just be called Rhodes Scholars, nor is it called Team Rhodes Scholars. Took on, hell no, Bryan faked a knee injury, lost the match for him, so they got pinned, but it was not for the title. Okay. Caitlyn took on Eve Torres. Caitlyn was just dominating Eve throughout most of the match. Eve decided to run away, winner by countout. Caitlyn. Okay. Antonio Cesaro took on the Great Khali in kind of a rematch from their really solid match on Main Event last week, which was actually the first match of the new year. Decent match. Cesaro does his best to try to really make Khali seem credible. Neutralizer. Cesaro gets a victory. Ryback, CM Punk TLC match. Actually a nice vicious match. Some of the bumps that Punk took were pretty sick. I think the Gorilla Press Slam, to be thrown stomach first onto a open ladder laying against the ropes, was pretty intense. Punk took some bumps. And like we all kind of figured, the Shield got involved. And the Shield put Ryback through a table that was sitting on the steel steps. So it was a really heavy bump to put him through. And CM Punk retained. Bleeding fingers. It was nice. Did a pretty solid job for that. So now all of a sudden we pull into like the last half an hour. Which is then when it happens. CM Punk gets on the mic, drops another pipe bomb, more or less talks about how he did all this on his own. He didn't have any of the fans. The fans suck. We're all losers. I said you guys wanted ice cream, but you guys don't need ice cream. So it was one of those really classic, heel sort of promos, but was done really well. Having met CM Punk before, he does kind of come off like a prick. But, he's honest. That's kind of who he is. He loves the money. He hates the fame. He ironically is worth $8 million. Paul Heyman's worth $4 million. I think The Rock is worth something like 40. So if you want to have any sort of comparison. And he runs down the fans. He runs on everything. Talks about how he's the greatest champion of all time. That if he were to have wrestled during the Bruno Sammartino era of wrestling, one night a month, he's done that many matches to equal the reign of Bruno Sammartino. Which is why they do the era breakdowns. Back in the day you could wrestle, a 1-hour match. but you might have done it once a week. Now, you're wrestling, 4 to 5 times a week, and you're doing like 10-minute long matches. So you're still wrestling probably the same amount of time, just there's a lot more traveling in between, and less rest periods and rest holds. So it was a good, solid promo, and it kept on going. So pretty much he ran the crowd down, with occasionally saying things that the crowd would pop for, like, so we were hearing Tampa, and the crowd would pop for Tampa. Then The Rock comes down. The Rock initially, really nice, solid promo. And then he decided to call CM Punk a crackhead Popeye, which didn't quite work. When The Rock was more serious and talking about, you offered them ice cream, which you couldn't do. You offered them Revolution, and you couldn't do it. You offered them change, and you couldn't do it. So he made it kind of seem more like you offered the fans everything, and came through on nothing. Which, was a pretty solid promo. You've got one person saying, I offered you these things because you're stupid and you'll listen to me and you'll cheer for whatever I say. He talked about how, little Jimmy has a better spot than the workhorse like Tyson Kidd, and the crowd popped. And he would see, you just did it right there. You just did it. You did exactly what I wanted you to do. Which is good. He's a good manipulator. He knows how to work the crowd. Rock came down, and when The Rock was trying to be more comedic, like he was taking on John Cena, it didn't work. It just did not come off as strong. When The Rock had his first opening mic feud with John Cena, he tore Cena apart, and the crowd really got into it. This time, he got them to chant Cookie Puss, in reference to the ice cream. Okay, but there wasn't like a Boots to Asses chant, there wasn't a Fruity Pebbles chant, he didn't get all these really great responses from the crowd. Even though throughout most of the night they had the little Twitter crawl, a new all-time low for Raw. And it wasn't until CM Punk hopped back in towards the end and started, running down The Rock for his really limited schedule and saying, whenever you show up, I'm going to kick your ass. I don't care if you work 1 day a week, 1 day a month, I'm going to kick your ass. I don't care if you have Santa Claus schedule, I'm going to kick your ass. And it was good to see CM Punk, who's shorter than The Rock, kind of get in his face and go, you know what, you've never faced anybody like me. You don't know what I'm capable of doing. Which was great, because CM Punk went from being this super dominant face, who occasionally had the moments of crisis of conscience but still won matches, to becoming a heel who was dominant and got people's faces and wasn't afraid to beat people, to then going into a cowardly heel, to now coming back to being that dominant, physical, my style you don't know how to face. I'm going to beat you, I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to make you tap out, I'm going to defeat you with a litany of moves, which is good. The more aggressive, the more evil sort of CM Punk is going to work well. However, The Rock's not going to be able to be really comedic with them. It's going to have to be a serious Rock, coming with everything he's got, with a really good, strong promo. Because if his promos are kind of weak, Punk is going to tear him apart. For their opening promo, it started out strong. When it was Punk, still stayed strong. When it was The Rock, it hit a weak point in the center, where The Rock tried to be pseudo more comedic against him, like he was taking on Cena, and it just didn't fit right with the angle of going, you've been champion for 414 days. I'm going to defeat you in 20 days. Period. And then try to go into some of the jokiness. No. If they keep this serious, this is going to work. The Rock's not going to be able to come out and do a guitar solo. He's not going to be able to be more comedic. He's not going to come out and be entertaining, but drama entertaining, not comedy. So I'm looking forward to their match. It should be an amazing match. CM Punk and The Rock. The Rock hasn't fought anybody like this probably since the time he took on Chris Benoit. If Benoit beat him for the title, and then he got reversed, and then The Rock beat him. The Rock hasn't faced a guy like CM Punk, who's got a very specific style on the mic, who knows how to work the crowd, who can make the crowd love him and hate him at the exact same time. When he feuded with John Cena, The crowd was split, and he knew the split to play to. He played to the older fans. Some people like me, yeah, sure, CM Punk said that I'm a loser. And you know what? I did spend money to have him sign a title belt. I did. I spent more money for Stan Lee. And Stan Lee could barely talk to me. But Stan Lee did pop for my Cosmic Cube, which was awesome. And you know what? We do spend money for these people. We do feed the 1%. I get it. If you spend money to go see The Rock in a movie, you put money in his pocket. It's just the way it is. They do something that we want to see, that we want to put time, effort, energy into. That's what they do for a living. I get it. I'm cool with it. If I don't think you're worth my time, effort, energy, or money, you don't get any of it. Punk, you're worth it. Rock, if it's an action movie, I would pay you to see it. I think he's a good action star. Comedy, not so much. I get it. I understand it. And I'm looking forward to what these two guys are going to do in 20 days.